Is Canelo Alvarez kind of destroying his legacy here? Canelo Alvarez has just openly ducked David Benavidez and said why he does not want to fight him. And he's just humiliating himself at this point, Canelo is. He's absolutely humiliating himself to why he is literally, blatantly ducking David Benavidez and has literally just said he does not want to fight him. And it's just stupid. It honestly is. Let's just have a look right now at this interview that Canelo has done with Fight Hype.
About the way David Benavidez was pursuing a fight with you. And it seemed like it was maybe annoying to you. But what aspect, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what aspect of his approach kind of rubbed you the wrong way?
You know,
he's having a long think here. He's having a long think about, oh, I need to try and get a right reason into why I'm not taking this fight. And then he literally finds an answer, and it literally just exposes absolutely everything. And if people are still defending him after this by saying, no, he's not ducking him, I don't know what you're talking about, because what he is about to say here, completely exposes absolutely everything, in my opinion. 100% it does. Hand on his head, not knowing, what do I say here?
I don't know. I don't really know how to answer this question.
Then
but
he says, I don't really know how to answer this question. Because he can't really find the right things to say. And then when he actually does say something, it just makes him look even worse than what is happening here.
I think the way he talks, he thinks he's Superman. Right, and
the way he talks, he thinks he's Superman. So is he not allowed to hype himself up or anything? Is he not allowed to hype himself up as a fighter? Is he not allowed to, start calling, the champion's name after he's been the mandatory challenger for 3 years? Is that not allowed, or?
He is very disrespectful. Not just with me, with everybody. And
he's disrespectful, but what? What's he been disrespectful for apart from calling for his title shot? What's he been doing that is so disrespectful? Canelo here is basically saying, oh, I'm not giving him the fight because he's being mean to me. That is basically, if you read between the lines, that is basically what Canelo is saying here. I'm not going to fight David Benavidez because he's being mean to me. That is basically it.
He's accomplished nothing.
Okay, he's accomplished nothing.
Not just with me, with everybody. And he's accomplished nothing.
How are you meant to accomplish something if the champion of the division, which David Benavidez has been mandatory challenger for 3 years, is not going to fight him? How is he meant to accomplish something if the champion doesn't want to fight him? What is he meant to do? He's accomplished being the WBC interim champion, the belt that Canelo holds. After that, the next thing to do is then, fight the challenger, fight the champion who, you have the interim belt to. And that is Canelo. That is the next step. That is how everyone works their way up. That is how Canelo worked his way up and started accomplishing things, because other champions would fight Canelo. How is Benavidez expected to accomplish more when a champion is not going to fight him? I don't get how people can defend that argument whatsoever. And the fact that Canelo's not giving it to him because he's been disrespectful and he's accomplished nothing, even though he's the interim champ.
He's not even a champion.
He's not even a champion because the champion, which is Canelo, is not fighting him. He's the interim champion. What else do you want him to do? How else does he need to get closer to being a champion? He's held the WBC interim super middleweight championship for 3 years. And when he was in super middleweight, Canelo wouldn't bloody fight him.
And he's not even in my weight class.
He's not even in my weight class. He was. He had the interim belt for 3 years. And Canelo didn't fight him. But it was all right to fight Belanga. It was all right to fight Munguia. And Benavidez was more deserving of a title shot than them. He was about for longer than them. He was an interim champion for longer than them when they were just mandatory challengers. And, you know, Canelo's other excuse as well is, I don't want to fight Mexican fighters. But then he was so happy to go on and fight Jaime Munguia. What's even the point here? It's just hypocritical from Canelo. Hypocritical. He's humiliating himself. What is going on?
Already. And, you know, there's a lot of things there that doesn't make sense.
There's a lot of things there that doesn't make sense. The thing that doesn't make sense is why Canelo isn't giving his interim champion a title shot. That is something that makes no sense. And, you know, I like the Crawford fight with Canelo. I do. It's going to be a good fight and a big build-up. But Benavidez should be getting this shot first before Terence Crawford does. It should. And Turki Al-Sheikh needs to really pressure Canelo on it. But it looks like Benavidez is getting his, they're just happy with Benavidez getting his chance now against Bivol. Which is fine, of course. That's still a big, big, big fight. But, you know, Canelo versus Benavidez is probably, in my opinion, the biggest fight in boxing to make right now.
Plus, at this point in my career, I can do whatever I want.
At this point in my career, I can do whatever he wants. I mean, you know, look. He's a Hall of Fame, but he's tainting his legacy if he's not fighting an interim champion. You know, he's there saying as well before, I want 200 million to fight David Benavidez. He's too heavy for me. He was in Canelo's weight class. He was in your weight class, Canelo. So what's the problem? What was the problem? The fight's never going to happen now. It's never going to happen. It's past it now. The fight's not going to happen. Because Benavidez is now doing his thing in a higher weight class at light heavyweight. But he was around for a while. He was around for a while at super middleweight. And Canelo has just fully, blatantly ducked him throughout. And the interview there has fully confirmed it for a fact that Canelo does not want the fight against David Benavidez. He's saying, and his arguments to it make no sense whatsoever. He's trying to get everything on big terms. He knows it's a risky fight, and he knows most likely that, you know, Benavidez being the taller guy and naturally bigger, even though they were in the same weight class anyway, so it should have been allowed to happen. You know, it now can't happen because Canelo probably knows he would end up getting bullied in that fight. I can't think of any reason why. It makes the things that don't add up here is why isn't Canelo, you know, giving his interim champ a title shot? You know, it's simple things. There are so many things that make sense to why this fight happens. It's a massive money fight, and Benavidez was the interim champ. But yeah, the fight is literally dead in the water. It is literally now dead in the water.
Yeah. And I agree. So
I agree. I mean, you know, he can do what he wants in his career, like, you know, fight people like Berlanga and Jaime Munguia. I mean, you know, they're saying that's all right, but I just don't get what the Berlanga fight did. Jamal Charlo was about 2 weight classes below Canelo. Crawford's 3 weight classes below Canelo. It's still a big fight, and I want to see it, but, you know, he's wanting to fight people smaller than him. But apparently David Benavidez isn't allowed to do that, though. It's hypocritical from Canelo. It really is. You know, he can't fight Benavidez because he's too big for him, apparently. But he's happy to, you know, weight bully Terence Crawford. He's happy to weight bully Jamal Charlo. Make it make sense. Canelo's a massive hypocrite with all of this whole situation. And he's humiliating himself. He's destroying his, in my opinion, in a way, he's destroying his legacy by doing that. You know, you need to beat everyone to be the best. You need to beat everyone to fully be in the Hall of Fame. And Canelo's done loads in his career. I'm giving him his credit 100%. He's one of the best to do it. But he is blatantly ducking David Benavidez.